Hi there, it's Catrin from 3Ps. This video is about how to coach your child through exams. I'm a personal trainer and a coach, and I'm also a hypnotherapist and an NLP master practitioner. So I know a bit about getting people to achieve and to be successful. And I thought I'd do something about how you coach children, because it's come up in my own family and I have seen some amazing results, and I thought I would just share that with you. Now, obviously, when it comes to coaching your children, you know your children best. You know probably what is the right approach with them. So this is an approach I'm going to suggest. You'll have to judge how it will work with your own children. So the situation I'm going to put to you is you have a child who is got to study for some big exams. They've got a big set of exams coming up, and you've got a child who is not knuckling down to it. This has come out of the fact that one of my children has exams this January 2017. And although they are incredibly able and do brilliantly at school, I've been really struggling to get them to sit down and address the homework. And this is going on for about a year. So that's how big the exams are. And, I laugh because when I see his school report, I almost don't recognise the child, because at home, it is difficult to get him to commit. At school, he is fantastically engaged. He is, he's extremely able. On one of his reports, and I laugh about it now, but he actually had a personal note on his report from the headmaster which says, "Thank you for joining the school." I really laugh. I said to my son, "Oh, well done," obviously, with the thing, that's just bizarre. This is not the child I see at home. So anyway, we'll establish that my child, I know I'm not trying to flog a dead horse here. My child is very able. My child can pass his exams, but he has been making it very difficult to actually prepare for them because he just doesn't want to settle down. So I had got to the stage where I thought maybe I just wasn't going to put him in for the exams. And then I thought, hang on a minute, what do I do for a living? Oh yes, I'm a coach. Why don't I see if I can use those skills with him? And I had a sense, there was obviously a dichotomy between the way he was at school and the way he was at home. And I was interested in why that was. So I sat down with him and said, look, just talk to me about, how does it feel when you're at school? And he said, oh, it's really good, and I enjoy my subjects, and I enjoy my teacher, and the work is easy. As I said, my son's very able, and I've jokingly said to him in the past that he has never even broken a sweat at school. He's one of those kids that just everything is quite easy. He gets that from me, really, that he just can pretty much skim it and he does fine. Whereas my older son has always had to work. But anyway, so my little son is very able, and what he's telling me is that one of the reasons that he likes school is because he feels a success. At school he does well. Everyone knows he does well, and that's great. And I said, okay, now tell me how you feel when we sit down to do the homework for these exams. And he said, the work is hard and I find it stressful. I thought that was very, very interesting, because what it showed me was that because he's one of these kids that's not had to try that hard, he's actually terrified of failure. He's terrified. He doesn't know how to approach things that are difficult. Unless he can get them first time, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't like that discomfort, the feeling of, I can't do it. And I thought that's very interesting, because I personally don't worry about failure. But I know it worries a lot of people. So the first thing I then did was get loads of quotes from people like Michael Jordan about failure. So, the famous quotes from Michael Jordan about the number of hoops he's missed, the number of match points he's missed. I managed to find all sorts of quotes about famous people. So, for example, Walt Disney was sacked from his first job because he was told he lacked creativity. Oprah Winfrey, sacked from her first TV job because she was told she wasn't suitable for TV, And these are people who, having told that, they could have gone, okay, fair dues, I'll give up then. But of course, none of them did. So I thought it was really important to because it's one thing for me to say it to him, but I'm his mother. He's never going to take it from me. So I just put these around his room, and initially he moaned and groaned. Oh, look what, he'd say to his mother, look what mum's done. But this stuff is still up in his room. He hasn't moved it, because I think he finds it quite inspirational. And then what I did was I then started to talk to him about failure. And I talked to him about failures in my life, and I got my husband to talk to him about failures in his life. And you could see with my son that the scales were starting to fall from his eyes. He was really amazed, because I think he thought everything had just been, plain sailing, and everything had gone marvellously from day one. He also skipped the bit when I divorced his father, but there we are. He clearly thought everything had just been, just beds of roses all the way through. So that was quite interesting for him, and I think that was helpful to go, failure's not such a scary thing, and everyone has to fail. The next thing I did was to say, okay, there's things going on in his head we need to get out, because I can't fight them when they're in his head, and it's his attitude that I need to change. So I sat down with him at a good moment and said, okay, tell me what's in your head. Tell me what you think when we're sitting having homework. And that was really fascinating. And it was sort of sad because the things he was saying were the classic imposter syndrome things that you hear, senior people, a lot of senior people suffer from imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is something you come across as a coach. And it's people who in their heart of hearts don't believe they deserve the success they get. And my 10-year-old was saying things like, I don't deserve to pass. I'm not clever enough. Now, I don't deserve to pass? Where does that come from? What critical voice gave him that one? I can't pass. He's extremely able. The issue for him was not that he couldn't pass, but mine was stopping him passing. So what I did was I said, having had that conversation, I said, look, I'm going to get a pen out and we're going to write these down. And I wrote down and got him to tell me exactly in his words what was going on in his head. So he wrote all these statements down. And I've got them all here because I kept them. Well, actually, I'll come to it, but we put them on a board for him. But we've got, I am worried I won't pass the exam. I don't want to fail. That's interesting. He doesn't want to fail, so therefore he's just not going to try, apparently. That's his way of doing things. Studying for the 11 plus makes me nervous. At the exam, there will be lots of kids who are much more intelligent than me. I will fail and people will laugh at me. Even if I try, I will not pass. I don't deserve to go to the school because I'm not smart enough. People will tease me if I fail for it. And then he mentions two particular people who will tease him, who is his older brother and his cousin. Okay, we just shift. So, very honest, all believable. I know my son, I know that's what's going on in his head. All completely defeating, all completely limiting, all blocks that he's never in a million years going to pass his exam if he feels that way. Okay, and what's happening is because those are going around in his head, he's misbehaving during the homework because then, if he fails, he can say, I failed because I didn't work, not because of anything else, not because I'm no good. Okay, so that's what his mind's doing. Okay, so I think he thought at that stage, job done. He certainly felt better. My impression of him was that he looked lighter, having actually shared this stuff. And this stuff was obviously nasty stuff going on in his head. So, but I think he thought job done. Because as a coach, my next move is to go, okay, well, those are your limiting beliefs. Let's now do your corresponding empowering belief. Now, if you've not come across this process, if you have a limiting belief, you need to change that belief. And the first thing you do is create an empowering belief that neutralizes your limiting belief. So if I give you an example, so in terms of my son's, I am worried that I won't pass the exam, we came up with, I will pass the exam if I work hard enough. So for each belief, you create the counter empowering belief. Now, these got to be realistic. You can't have, beliefs, I'm going to take over the world, I'm going to be president of Russia tomorrow. Those sorts of things aren't, that's not believable. The empowering belief has to be believable because the point is that when you hear the limiting belief in your head, you flick it to the empowering belief and you believe the empowering belief. And that's how you get rid of those limitations and actually start to believe things that you need to get you to the point of success. So this is a classic coaching technique. So we then wrote together all of his empowering beliefs. We wrote them in his words, not mine. It was really important that I not tell him. He has to come up with them. So I would say to him, okay, so you've said, I don't want to fail. And he'd get really uncomfortable when I quoted these back to him, but it was important that we get these out in the open. So I'd say, you said, I don't want to fail. So what's the empowering belief that goes with that? And you think about it, and then the one we came up with, he came up with was, at least I will try. Absolutely spot on, at least I will try. So I'm now going to read the empowering beliefs that we created together, which are his ones that he created. Okay, so we had, I will pass if I work hard enough. At least I will try. If you are studying for the exam, just remember that studying for it gives you a better chance of passing the exam. There will always be people smarter than you. I will pass. If I stop worrying about failure, then failure won't come my way. Nobody is good at everything. I don't worry about what other people think. Everybody fails something. I will pass. It's not going to happen because I will pass. I do deserve to go to the school because I will try and I am smart enough. At least I will try. The people who tease me are just jealous of my opportunities. Plus, I will pass no matter how hard it is. Okay? So really good beliefs here. Now, what did I do with those? I put them on a board. And initially my son was like, oh no, Mum. But I went and showed him my office. And he'd seen my boards in there before, but I think he'd never really asked me about them. Because in my office, I've got a series of boards which are my goals, my limiting beliefs, empowering beliefs, and other things that are to do with my business. Okay, so I took him through my boards and showed him that this is an activity that even adults do. And we then went together and made his board. And we actually, the 2/3 of the board is all his beliefs, okay? And then on the final part of the board on this side are photographs of the school. So they're photographs of activities at the school. And this is all about saying, making it real for him. You know, this is where he wants to go, make it real for him. And then I also managed to find a picture of the teacher I think probably will interview him, because this school has both exams and interviews. And I wanted him to get comfortable and almost form a relationship with this person before he meets him. So I found a picture of him and he went on as well. And my son actually created a picture beside it, and you can see it. Here, of him shaking hands with this guy. So that's the board that we created, and then I put it up on his wall. Now, you may think, well, do you need to have it on this wall? Is it embarrassing? You know, do other people comment on it? Other kids don't really notice it, to be honest. But it's really helpful when I'm actually doing homework with my son. When I can see the mental loop starting, you know, he starts to wriggle. He does say, oh, do we have to do it tonight? Or, you know, he tries bargaining. He says, oh, don't want to do maths. Can we do English? Or can we do only half? Well, no, whatever he does. He bargains with me. I will look at him and go, okay, choose 2 of your limiting beliefs and let's find your empowering beliefs. Now he goes, oh, you know, Mum. But we do it. And what I find is that it actually alters his state. So it just sort of calms him down and centers him. The other thing I do with him is we've gone through brochures together of the school, and we talk about the school because I want him to feel that it's real and that I believe that he can pass the exams. You might think, well, isn't that setting him up for failure? Well, first of all, my attitude would be, if you don't visualize success, you'll never achieve it. You know, a sprinter doesn't spend his time going, well, I'm not going to visualize winning because I might not. They put all of their energy into winning, and if you want to achieve something, you have to do that. A mountaineer doesn't spend time thinking about what he's going to do if he falls. He's concentrating on climbing up, not down. That's the first thing I'd say. And the second thing is I've also been very clear with my son that it doesn't matter if he doesn't pass, because all he can do is get as much preparation as possible and try his hardest on the day. A lot of it is going to be about luck. It's about which questions are asked, you know, how many other strong candidates are there. Some things we can't control, and that it is no shame if he doesn't get through, if he's tried his hardest. The shame is if he doesn't try. So I've been clear that whether he'll believe me, I don't know. But that's where I am with him. So that's how I would use classic coaching techniques to help your child pass exams. If this has been helpful, give me a thumbs up. If it hasn't, then obviously that. Please do subscribe. This channel is all about positivity, exercise, fitness, positive change. So come along and join the band, and please do engage. Give me a comment. You can also comment on my Facebook page. We're at facebook.com/3Ps Media. There's lots of stuff also on this YouTube channel to have a look at. There's also, if you go onto our website, which is at 3pspublishing.com, there are some free book downloads there. There's a book on sugar-free desserts. There's one on alcohol-free living as well. So have a look on there. I'm Catrin for 3Ps. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you soon. Bye.